Dr. He stood at the massive window of the transport ship, his dark eyes fixed on the gleaming space station ahead. The Kepler X-9 looked like a giant silver snowflake floating in space, its 8 arms stretching out from the center hub. Each arm was as long as 10 football fields, and He knew that one of them held the most advanced hospital in the known galaxy. He touched the metal name tag on his white coat. Even after 6 months of preparation, it felt unreal that he, a trauma surgeon from Seoul, would be the first human doctor to work in the Central Galactic Hospital. "Doctor, we're ready to dock," the ship's pilot called out. "Please secure yourself." He sat down and fastened his safety straps. The ship moved slowly toward one of the station's docking ports, and he felt a small shake as they connected. His heart beat faster. After years of humans knowing about alien life, this would be the first real medical exchange between Earth and the galactic community. The airlock door opened with a soft hiss. He picked up his medical bag and walked through the connecting tunnel. 2 figures waited for him at the other end. One was clearly human, a station worker in a blue uniform. The other was a Verixi, a species that looked almost like a tall human made of silvery crystal. "Welcome to Kepler X-9, Dr. He," the Verixi said in perfect Earth standard. "I am Dr. Ryltak, Chief of Emergency Medicine." The Jinn bowed slightly, remembering his cultural training. "Thank you for accepting me into the exchange program, Dr. Ryltak. Please, follow me to the medical wing. Your arrival is most timely. We have several interesting cases today." As they walked through the station's wide corridors, He couldn't help but stare. The walls were made of a material that seemed to shift colors slowly, helping different species find their way. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved around them, some floating, some walking on tentacles, others rolling on wheel-like limbs. The hospital wing was even more amazing. He saw rooms with different atmospheres, gravity levels, and temperatures. Some were filled with liquid instead of air. In one room, a doctor who looked like a giant jellyfish was treating a patient who seemed to be made of living metal. "This is quite different from Earth hospitals," He said, trying to keep his voice steady. Dr. Ryltak's crystal face sparkled in what He would later learn was a smile. "Indeed, most species require very specific conditions to survive. That's why we have over 50 different types of emergency rooms." They stopped at a room that looked more normal to He. Inside, a team of doctors was treating a patient with multiple arms. "Observe," Dr. Ryltak said. "This Centaurian worker suffered pressure damage when his environmental suit failed. Even a few moments in normal atmosphere can cause severe trauma to their kind." He watched carefully as the medical team worked. The techniques were different, but the basic principles were similar to what he knew. Stop the damage, treat the patient, prevent future problems. "You'll start with easier cases," Dr. Ryltak explained. "Species closer to human normal. Then we'll move on to more exotic physiologies. Your species is remarkably adaptable. You can work in a wider range of conditions than most of our doctors." "I'm looking forward to learning," He said, already making mental notes about the equipment they used. A loud alarm suddenly filled the corridor. Dr. Ryltak's crystalline form flickered with blue light, their version of adrenaline response, He remembered from his studies. "Perfect timing," Dr. Ryltak said. "Emergency coming in from the mining colony on Pressure 6, ready to see how we handle a real crisis." He nodded, his training kicking in. This was why he had come here, to learn, to help, to show what human doctors could do. As they rushed toward the emergency bay, he had no idea that this case would change how the entire galaxy viewed human beings. "Time to put your trauma experience to use, Doctor," Dr. Ryltak said as they ran. "Let's see what you can do." He smiled. After all his years of training, after all the preparation for this program, after dreaming of working among the stars, this was his moment to prove himself. He was ready to show the galaxy what human doctors could do. The emergency room burst into action as reports came in from Pressure 6, the high-pressure mining planet. He-Jin watched the holographic display showing the mining tunnels where the accident had happened. Red warning lights flashed everywhere on the map. 3 tunnels have collapsed, a voice announced over the speakers. We have 12 miners trapped. The pressure shields are failing. Dr. Ryltak's crystal body flickered with urgent blue patterns. What level are they at? Level 7, the voice replied. Pressure is at 450,000 kilopascals and rising. He-Jin saw several alien doctors step back from the display. He remembered his training about pressure levels. Level 7 was deep enough to crush most metals flat. Can't we send in rescue robots? Someone asked. A new voice joined the conversation. Engineer Jaiwon here. The robots can't handle that pressure. We tried sending 2 in. They were crushed in seconds. He-Jin turned to see a human woman in an engineering uniform walking quickly toward them. She carried a tablet showing the failed rescue attempts. The miners' safety pods will only last another 2 hours, Jaiwon said, her face serious. After that, their air runs out. Dr. Ryltak's crystal form dimmed slightly, a sign of deep worry. No species can survive those pressures without full protection. Even our strongest suits would fail at half that depth. He-Jin stepped forward, his mind racing through his Earth medical training. What about humans? Everyone turned to look at him. Dr. Ryltak's crystal surface rippled with confusion. What do you mean? On Earth, we have deep-sea divers who work in extremely high pressures, He-Jin explained. We've evolved to handle pressure changes better than most species. Our bones and tissues can adapt. That's impossible, one of the alien doctors said. The pressure would crush your organs. Jaiwon's eyes lit up. No, he's right. Humans have reached depths of over 1,000 meters in Earth's oceans. We might be able to modify a pressure suit to work here. A young voice spoke up from nearby. I can monitor their vital signs. Everyone turned to see a human medical student, Yoon-hee, who had been quietly observing until now. I studied deep-sea medicine as part of my training. Dr. Ryltak looked at the 3 humans with a mixture of doubt and hope. The crystal doctor pulled up some calculations on a nearby screen. The numbers don't lie. This pressure would crush steel. Are you seriously suggesting a human could survive down there? We don't know until we try, He-Jin said firmly. And those miners don't have time for us to debate this. The emergency room fell silent. Ji-won was already sketching modifications for a pressure suit. Yoon-hee pulled up human diving medical records on her tablet. He-Jin stood straight, ready to volunteer. This is madness, Dr. Ryltak said finally. But we have no other options. Engineer Ji-won, how fast can you modify a suit? 20 minutes, she replied without looking up from her work. I'll reinforce it with our strongest materials, but it will still be risky. I'll go, He-Jin said. I have experience with pressure changes from my mountain rescue work on Earth. Dr. Ryltak's crystal form pulsed with worried colors. If you die down there, it could damage relations between our peoples. He-Jin smiled. If I don't go down there, 12 miners will definitely die. As a doctor, my choice is clear. The next 15 minutes were a blur of activity. Ji-won worked frantically on the suit, while Yoon-hee set up monitoring equipment. He-Jin reviewed the miners' biological data, noting which species would need immediate treatment. As he put on the modified pressure suit, He-Jin caught his reflection in a metal panel. He looked calm, but his heart was racing. This would either be a huge step forward for human-alien relations or his last act as a doctor. The suit's ready, Jaiwon announced. I've done everything I can to reinforce it, but once you pass level 5, you'll be on your own. No one has ever gone that deep and survived. He-Jin checked the suit's seals one last time. Then I guess it's time to make history. Dr. Ryltak put a crystalline hand on He-Jin's shoulder. You are either the bravest or the most foolish doctor I've ever met. Good luck. The rescue capsule was waiting. As He-Jin stepped inside, He heard Yoon-hee's voice. "We'll be monitoring you the whole way down. Don't try to be a hero. If anything feels wrong, tell us immediately." The capsule door closed. He-jin took a deep breath as the descent began. He was about to find out exactly how much pressure a human could really take. The rescue capsule moved slowly down through the dark mining shaft. He-jin watched the pressure gauge numbers climb higher and higher. Level 1 passed quietly. Level 2 brought a slight shake to the capsule. "How are you feeling?" Yoon-hee's voice came through his helmet speaker. "Fine so far," He-jin replied. "Like a deep dive in the ocean." Dr. Ryletak's voice joined in. "You're approaching level 3. This is where we lost the first rescue robot." He-jin felt the pressure now. It pressed against his suit from all sides. The feeling reminded him of diving in deep waters back on Earth. His medical training kicked in, and he focused on keeping his breathing steady. Level 3 pressure reached, Jae-won announced. "Suit holding stable." "How are the readings, Yoon-hee?" "Heart rate normal. Blood pressure elevated but within expected range. Body temperature stable," Yoon-hee reported. "He-jin, can you move your fingers and toes for me?" He-jin wiggled his fingers and toes. "Everything moves fine. The pressure is strong, but I can handle it." The capsule passed level 4. The walls creaked around him. He-jin saw small dents appearing in the capsule's metal interior. But his suit, thanks to Jae-won's modifications, held firm. Level 5 approaching, Jae-won warned. "This is where the second robot failed. Are you sure you want to continue? The miners only have 90 minutes of air left." He-jin said, "We keep going." The pressure at level 5 hit like a giant's fist. He-jin felt his bones creaking, but not breaking. Years of evolution had made human bones surprisingly strong. He remembered reading about how human bone density could actually increase under pressure. "Remarkable," Dr. Ryletak said, watching the medical readings. "Any other species would be crushed by now. How are you doing this?" "Humans evolved from creatures that lived in the ocean," Yoon-hee explained while monitoring He-jin's vital signs. "Our bodies remember how to handle pressure." Level 6 brought new challenges. The capsule's outer shell groaned. Warning lights flashed on He-jin's suit display. But inside, protected by both the suit and his own biology, He-jin remained stable. "Your core temperature is rising," Yoon-hee reported. "The pressure is creating heat. Can you feel it?" "Yes," He-jin said, "but it's manageable. Like a hot bath." Jae-won's voice came next. "The suit's cooling system is working at full power. We didn't expect it to handle this much heat." The capsule entered level 7. This was deeper than any rescue mission had ever gone. The walls of the mining shaft were visible through the capsule's windows, bent and twisted by the incredible pressure. "Hospital sensors are picking up movement," Dr. Ryletak reported. "The miners' safety pods are 30 meters ahead. But the pressure there is higher than we've ever recorded," Jae-won finished. "He-jin, you can still turn back." He-jin looked at his suit readings. The pressure was now high enough to flatten steel. His bones ached, his muscles burned, but nothing was breaking. Somehow, his human body was adapting to conditions that destroyed machines. "I can see the pods," He-jin said. The capsule's lights showed several metal spheres ahead, each holding trapped miners. "I'm going out to help them. Be careful with the airlock," Jae-won warned. "It's our last barrier against total pressure exposure." He-jin moved to the capsule's airlock. His training told him this was impossible. The pressure should kill him instantly. But his instincts, born from millions of years of evolution, told him he could do this. Airlock opening in 3, 2, 1. He-jin counted down. The outer door opened. The full force of level 7 pressure hit him. He-jin felt his suit compress and his body strain. But he didn't break. Instead, something surprising happened. "Yoon-hee," he called out. "Are you seeing this?" "My readings." "Incredible," she replied. her voice full of wonder. Your bone density is actually increasing. Your body is adapting to the pressure. This is beyond anything we expected. Jin took his first step out of the capsule. Around him, the rock walls themselves were being slowly crushed by the pressure. But inside his suit, a human body was proving stronger than steel. I'm heading to the first pod, he reported. Let's show the galaxy what humans can really do. Jin moved carefully through the crushing pressure toward the first safety pod. Each step felt like walking through thick jelly. The pod's outer shell had deep dents from the pressure, but its inner chamber still held. I'm at pod 1, he reported. I can see 3 miners inside. They're conscious but scared. Through the pod's small window, the aliens stared at him with wide eyes. They had never seen anyone move freely at this depth. Jin checked their life support readings on his suit's scanner. Pod 1 has 50 minutes of air left, he told the surface team. How do I open it without killing them? Jaiwon's voice crackled through his helmet. Each pod has a small airlock. You'll need to connect your suit to it, then bring them out one at a time. Jin found the airlock connection and attached his suit's emergency transfer tube. Inside the pod, the miners moved toward the airlock. The first one, a blue-skinned Aquarian, looked terrified. Yoon-hee, Jin called. What's happening to my bones? They feel different. Your bone density has increased by 30%, she replied excitedly. Your body is creating new bone mass to fight the pressure. We've never seen anything like it. Dr. Ryltak's voice joined in. Impossible. No species can grow stronger under these conditions. Jin didn't have time to wonder about it. He helped the first miner into his transfer tube. The alien's environmental suit was barely holding together. First miner connected, Jin reported. Starting transfer to rescue capsule. The transfer took 5 minutes. Jin's suit pumped breathable air into the tube while slowly moving the miner through the crushing pressure. Above, the rescue capsule waited with a special pressure chamber ready. First miner safe, Yoon-hee announced. 2 more in pod 1. Jin worked quickly but carefully. Each transfer had to be perfect. One mistake could kill everyone. As he worked, he noticed his movements were getting easier, not harder. My muscles are adapting too, he reported. It's like they're getting stronger. Fascinating. Dr. Ryltak said, your muscle fibers are reorganizing themselves. They're becoming denser, more efficient. The last miner from pod 1 reached the capsule safely. Jin moved to pod 2, fighting against the immense pressure. The mining tunnel creaked and groaned around him. Warning! Jaiwon's voice was urgent. Tunnel stability dropping. You have 20 minutes before total collapse. Jin reached pod 2. 4 miners inside, all looking weak. Their pod had taken more damage than the first one. Pod 2's air supply is failing, he reported. We need to move fast. He connected his transfer tube and started moving miners. His body felt strange but strong. The pressure that crushed steel somehow made him stronger instead of weaker. Jin, Yoon-hee called. Your vital signs are amazing. Your heart has adapted its beating pattern. Your lungs are working better under pressure than they do normally. Less talking, more rescuing, Jin said, helping the third miner from pod 2 into the tube. The tunnel gave a loud crack. Pieces of rock fell around him. Jin moved faster, reaching pod 3. 5 miners waited inside, watching him with hope in their eyes. 10 minutes until tunnel collapse, Jaiwon warned. Jin worked as fast as he could. Transfer tube connect. Miner in. Transfer start. Again and again. His body moved smoothly now, fully adapted to the pressure. Last miner coming up, he reported finally. Everyone is out of the pods. Get back to the capsule now. Dr. Ryltak ordered. The tunnel won't hold much longer. Jin turned toward the rescue capsule. The tunnel was breaking apart around him, but his strengthened body moved quickly through the pressure, fighting against the forces that could crush steel. He reached the capsule and sealed himself inside just as the tunnel began to cave in. The capsule shot upward, racing against the collapse. All miners accounted for, Yoon-hee reported happily. And Hye-jin, you just made medical history. No one has ever shown this kind of adaptation before. As the capsule rose through the levels, Hye-jin felt his body slowly returning to normal. But he knew this was just the beginning. They had discovered something amazing about humans today. Something that would change everything. 1 week after the rescue, Hye-jin sat in a special testing chamber in the Central Galactic Hospital. Dr. Ryletak stood behind thick safety glass, watching as the pressure in the chamber slowly increased. "How do you feel?" the crystal doctor asked through the speaker. "Fine," Hye-jin replied. "Like last time, I can feel my body adjusting." Jae-won monitored the testing equipment she had built. Special sensors covered Hye-jin's body, measuring every tiny change. Yoon-hee watched his vital signs on multiple screens. "Look at this," Yoon-hee said excitedly. "His bones are already getting denser. It's happening faster than during the rescue." Dr. Ryletak's crystal form sparkled with interest. "It seems your body remembers how to adapt, like muscle memory, but for your entire body." The pressure reached level 5. Hye-jin moved his arms and legs, testing his strength. "It feels easier this time, less uncomfortable." "Fascinating," Dr. Ryletak said. "Your species evolved from sea creatures, you said." "Yes," Hye-jin explained. "Our ancestors lived in the oceans millions of years ago. Maybe that's why we can handle pressure so well." Jae-won adjusted some controls on her equipment. Other doctors are asking to observe. Word is spreading about what humans can do. Indeed, the observation room was getting crowded. Alien doctors from all over the station came to watch. They had never seen any species get stronger under pressure instead of being crushed. "Let's try something new," Dr. Ryletak suggested. "Can you lift weights in there?" Jae-won sent a metal bar into the chamber through a special slot. Hye-jin picked it up easily. "The pressure makes me stronger," he reported. "Like my muscles are packed tighter together." Yoon-hee pointed to her screens. His muscle fibers are actually changing shape. They're becoming more efficient. More tests followed. They tried different pressures, different movements, different tasks. Hye-jin's body adapted to all of them. Sometimes he was even stronger under pressure than in normal conditions. "We need more human volunteers," Dr. Ryletak decided, "to see if all humans can do this." Soon, other human doctors and workers on the station joined the research. Everyone showed the same ability to adapt to high pressure. Some were even better at it than Hye-jin. Jae-won worked on new equipment designs. "If we understand how humans adapt," she said, "we can make better suits and tools for extreme conditions." The research continued for days. They learned that humans could survive pressures that crushed most metals, get stronger instead of weaker under pressure, adapt faster each time they experienced high pressure, keep their minds clear even in extreme conditions, heal faster when their bodies were compressed. "This changes everything," Dr. Ryletak said one day, watching another test. "Humans aren't just tough. You're built to get tougher when things get hard." Hye-jin thought about the rescue mission. "Maybe that's why we've survived so long on Earth. Our planet taught us to adapt." Yoon-hee was writing everything down for her medical studies. "Other species evolved to need specific conditions," she said, "but humans evolved to handle changing conditions." News of their research spread through the station. More alien doctors arrived every day to observe. Some brought new ideas for tests. Others wanted to learn how to work with humans in dangerous conditions. "The Galactic Medical Council wants our full report," Dr. Ryletak announced. "They're very interested in working more with human doctors." Jae-won looked up from her work. "And the mining companies want to hire human rescue teams. They say we could save lives in places no one else can reach." Hye-jin felt proud. What started as a desperate rescue mission had turned into something bigger. Humans weren't just joining the galactic community. They were finding their special place in it. Tomorrow we test underwater pressure, Dr. Ryltak said. Your old environment. Should be interesting to see how you do there. Hejin smiled. Every test taught them something new about human abilities. He wondered what else they would discover about themselves among the stars. The alarm woke Hejin at 3 in the morning, station time. Red lights flashed in his quarters, and a computer voice spoke calmly but urgently. Warning: station pressure system failure. All non-essential personnel must evacuate immediately. Hejin grabbed his medical kit and ran to the hospital wing. In the corridors, he saw aliens rushing to escape pods. Many species couldn't survive even small pressure changes without their environmental suits. He found Dr. Ryltak in the emergency control room. The crystal doctor's form was flickering with worry colors. The main pressure regulators are failing, Dr. Ryltak explained quickly. Different sections of the station are experiencing extreme pressure changes. We've lost contact with Engineering Section 4. G1 is in Section 4, He said, running into the room. She was working late on the new pressure suits. Hejin checked the pressure readings on the main screen. Section 4 was showing dangerous levels, high enough to crush normal equipment. Most of our rescue teams can't handle those pressures, Dr. Ryltak said. And our robots still can't beat human adaptation. Hejin finished. Where are the prototype suits Jai-1 was working on? In her lab, He said, but they're not finished yet. The station shook. More warning lights came on. Now other sections were showing pressure problems. We have injured people in the medical wing too, Dr. Ryltak reported. The pressure changes are too much for some patients. We need to evacuate them, but most of our medical staff has to leave. Hejin made a quick decision. He help Dr. Ryltak with the patients. I'll go find Jai-1. But the suits aren't tested. He protested. I don't need a perfect suit, Hejin said. We know humans can handle the pressure. The suit just needs to help me breathe. Dr. Ryltak's crystal form pulsed with concern. The pressure in Section 4 is still rising. Even with your abilities, it's dangerous. Jai-1 risked her life to help us save those miners, Hejin said firmly. Now it's our turn to save her. He ran to the equipment room and found one of Jai-1's prototype suits. It was simpler than the one he'd used in the mine, but it would have to do. I'm heading to Section 4, he reported through his suit radio. Can you guide me? Sending you the safest route, he replied. But hurry. The whole station's pressure system is failing. We have maybe 30 minutes before total system collapse. Hejin moved as fast as he could through the increasingly dangerous corridors. He passed empty rooms where equipment had been crushed by the pressure. His suit creaked, but his body adapted just like before. G1. He called out as he entered Section 4. Can you hear me? A weak voice came through his radio. In the lab. Trapped. He found the engineering lab. The door was bent from pressure damage. Inside, he saw Jai-1 trapped under a fallen piece of equipment. The room's pressure was dangerously high. Hold on, he said, moving to help her. The pressure made every movement hard, but his body was already adapting. He lifted the heavy equipment off her, something that would have been impossible in normal conditions. The suits, Jai-1 said weakly, pointing to a storage unit, almost finished them, could help other species handle pressure better. First, let's get you out of here, Hejin said, helping her up. Can you walk? Jai-1 nodded, but Hejin could see she was hurt. He helped her into the emergency suit he brought as backup. He called through the radio. We're coming back. Have medical ready. They moved slowly through the crushing pressure. Hejin supported Jai-1, his strengthened muscles fighting against forces that would flatten steel. Behind them, equipment crumpled in the increasing pressure. Almost there, he encouraged Jai-1. Just like you helped me save those miners, one step at a time. Above them, He and Dr. Ryltak worked to save the patients in the medical wing. The station's crisis was far from over, but humans were proving their worth once again, not just surviving the impossible, but helping others survive too. 1 month after the station crisis, Ho Jin stood before the Galactic Medical Council. The great meeting hall was filled with doctors from 100 different species. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others sat in special environment pods, and a few appeared only as holograms. Dr. Ryltak stood beside him, crystal form glowing with proud colors. In the front row, Jai-Won sat with her arm in a healing cast, and Yoon-hee held a large data pad full of their research notes. Dr. He-jin. The council leader spoke, her voice translated into all languages. You stand before us today because of 2 remarkable events. First, the rescue of 12 miners from crushing depths. Second, saving lives during the station crisis. Please, show us what you discovered about human abilities. He-jin nodded to Yoon-hee, who activated the main display screen. Images appeared showing human bone and muscle changes under extreme pressure. We learned that humans don't just survive high pressure. He-jin explained in simple terms. We get stronger from it. Our bones grow denser. Our muscles work better. Even our hearts pump more efficiently. Murmurs of amazement filled the hall. Many council members had never heard of a species that grew stronger in dangerous conditions. Show them the mining rescue, Dr. Ryltak suggested. The screen showed recordings from He-jin's suit camera during the rescue. The council watched in silence as he moved through pressures that could crush steel. When they saw him walking in level 7 pressure, several members stood up in surprise. Impossible, one council member said. Nothing can function at those depths. Humans can. Jai-Won spoke up from her seat. And we're learning to make equipment that works with our natural abilities. My team is developing new pressure suits based on how human bodies adapt. Yoon-hee changed the display to show medical readings from the station crisis. During the emergency, our human medical team stayed behind when others had to evacuate. We could work in conditions that would harm most species. The council leader leaned forward with interest. And you can teach these abilities to others. No, He-jin said honestly. We can't teach other species to adapt like we do. But we can use our abilities to help others. To reach places no one else can reach. To save lives in extreme conditions. Dr. Ryltak stepped forward. I've worked with many species in my long career. Humans are unique. They don't just survive. They adapt and grow stronger from challenges. This makes them perfect for emergency medicine and rescue work. The council members talked among themselves. The Jin waited patiently. Finally, the council leader spoke again. We have made a decision. First, we will create a new emergency response division, led by human doctors and rescue workers. Second, we will fund more research into human adaptation abilities. And third, she paused for effect. We will recommend that all major medical facilities in the galaxy add human medical staff to their teams. The hall burst into excited discussion. This was a huge step forward for humans in the galactic community. He-jin felt proud, but also humble. They had much more to learn and prove. There's something else, Jai-Won said, standing up carefully. The station crisis showed us that humans can do more than just survive pressure. We can help create new safety systems, new rescue equipment, new ways to protect all species. Yoon-hee nodded eagerly. And we're still discovering new things about human adaptation. Every test shows us something new about our abilities. The council leader raised her hands for quiet. Then it settled. Dr. He-jin, you and your team will lead these new programs. Show us what humans can do. Teach us how to use your remarkable abilities to help others. As the council meeting ended, He-jin looked at his friends. Dr. Ryltak, Jai-Won, and Yoon-hee. Together, they had shown the galaxy something amazing about humans, but he knew this was just the beginning. Ready to change galactic medicine? He asked them with a smile. Ready, they answered together. The future was full of possibilities, and humans would help shape it in ways no one had imagined before. 3 months after the council meeting, the Central Galactic Hospital looked very different. He-Jin walked through new training rooms where human doctors taught rescue techniques. In each room, doctors from Earth worked with alien medical teams. Jaiwon's workshop had grown into a large laboratory. She stood at a testing station, showing her latest invention to a group of engineers. This new pressure suit learns from human adaptation, she explained, pointing to the suit's special fabric. When pressure increases, the suit gets stronger, just like human bones and muscles do. He-Jin watched as an alien engineer tried on one of the suits. The engineer moved easily, protected by human-inspired technology. "How does it feel?" Jaewon asked. "Amazing," the engineer replied. "I can move in high pressure as if it were normal conditions." In another part of the hospital, Yoon-hee led a new training program. She stood before a class of medical students from 20 different species. "Today we'll learn how humans handle extreme conditions," she said, showing videos of rescue operations. "Then we'll practice working together in emergency teams." Dr. Ryltak entered the classroom, crystal form glowing with happy colors. "Show them the deep space rescue from last week," he suggested. Yoon-hee played the video. The class watched as human rescue workers saved a crew from a damaged ship. The humans moved through areas where the ship's pressure control had failed, reaching places rescue robots couldn't go. "Human bodies adapt naturally," Yoon-hee explained. "But we can teach you how to work with us, how to use our abilities to save more lives." In the Emergency Response Center, He-Jin checked the new rescue protocols. Each team now had at least one human member. They could respond to accidents in mines, underwater stations, gas giant colonies, and even crushing gravity worlds. "Emergency call coming in," the control room operator announced. "Mining accident on pressure 8. He-Jin remembered his first rescue on pressure 6. Now they were ready for even greater challenges. The response team gathered quickly, 3 humans and 2 aliens in Jaewon's new suits. "Remember your training," He-Jin told the team. "Humans take the lead in high pressure. Support team follows in protective suits. We work together." As the team prepared for their mission, more students arrived at the hospital. Earth's best doctors and engineers came to share their knowledge. They'd brought new ideas, new techniques, and new ways to use human abilities. Jaewon's lab developed more than just suits. They created tools that worked in extreme conditions, medical equipment that survived crushing pressures, and rescue vehicles that could go deeper than ever before. "Look at this," she said proudly, showing He-Jin her latest project. "A portable pressure chamber that works like human bone. The worse things get, the stronger it becomes." In the medical library, Yoon-hee added new research papers every day. She documented every discovery about human adaptation. Her work helped doctors across the galaxy understand how to work with human abilities. Other species evolved to need perfect conditions, she explained to her students. "Humans evolved to handle changing conditions. That makes us perfect for space medicine." At the end of another busy day, He-Jin met with Dr. Ryltak in the observation room. They watched Earth's sun shining in the distance. "More human medical teams arrive next week," Dr. Ryltak said. "Soon we'll have humans in every major hospital in the galaxy. And more discoveries to make," He-Jin added. "We're still learning what we can do." A new alarm sounded, another rescue mission. He-Jin and Dr. Ryltak hurried to the emergency center. Human and alien doctors moved together with practiced ease, ready to save lives in the most dangerous places in space. "This is what we worked for," He-Jin thought as he prepared for the mission. Humans had found their place in the galaxy, not just as another species, but as protectors who could go where others couldn't. Every day, they proved that being human meant being ready for anything.